Your fan weather forecast brought to you by Habish, and Rotier is cloudy conditions. They'll continue throughout the day today with a high of 44 degrees. It's currently 35 degrees here in Milwaukee.
Eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, it's great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Sweden score! The late penalty is going to be called. Caleb Barnes with the shot from long range. And now a 2-on-1 for Team USA. The pass across. Score! Score! Abby Murphy! 3-0 United States. Here's Layla Edwards. Edwards score! Here's Carl Salemi out in front. Score! 5-0 Team USA. The United States will play for gold here in Milan on Thursday.
Boy, other than bang on the drum all day, them coming out with this after each and every goal for Team USA, outstanding.
It's so good.
A free bird. You get your Tuesday started. Let's go. For gold, that is. Let's go for the gold. I think, Josh, we go for gold.
I think that's a great plan.
USA women's hockey 5-0 over Sweden. Another Badger goal by Abby Murphy. Setting records over there in Italy. 5 straight shutouts. Finland 5-0. Switzerland 5-0. Canada, hey, see you in the championship. Last time 5-0. Italy 6-0. Don't outdo yourselves, ladies. Sweden 5-0.
I mean, they're just, I'm literally telling myself, like, doesn't matter. Every game's a new game. You got to go into this one still just as focused. But if you don't like Freebird, if you don't like hearing Freebird, you are so annoyed right now.
Go kick a rock.
It has been played a lot.
What did you say, though? I mean, like, if you don't like Freebird.
Yeah, you can go fly a kite. Like, get out of here. Like, I'm not saying that you need to listen to it on repeat, I don't know, in the middle of the summer. But it is just like the best song right now for when the U.S. hockey team scores a goal. Like, I
might listen to it all summer for this reason.
You're right. Like, now associate it with this hockey team. It's
I'll
fantastic.
Never hear it again the same. Absolutely. Hey, what's up, Wisconsin?
Oh, hi.
How are we? Happy Tuesday. Welcome in Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios and powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Got a little ahead of ourselves there just for a hot second.
I'm just so excited.
Yeah, I know. It really is exciting. The gold medal match between Canada and the USA. It's Thursday, 12:10 Central. Whatever you got on your calendar, cancel it. This is one that you're going to want to be in front of the boob tube for. I can say that, can't I? Boob tube?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I didn't dump it, so.
All the kids are like, what's that? Well,
yeah,
kids,
no one even knows.
Not all TVs used to be flat.
Why don't you sit down and let me tell you a story?
Let's tell you a story or two from yesterday. We call it Let's Play Catch Up. Here we go.
Packers.
So not much, but that doesn't mean there's not much to talk about, right? In today's morning mind dump, Josh and I are going to start our 2025 season in review. We're going to go player by player-ish, position room by position room, and decide why or why not that player or that room needs work, should be on the team, or thanks for coming, have a great day.
Yeah, and I think it's time for some spring cleaning.
Maybe so. Today, 7 a.m., the morning mind dump, along with all the things that you have to get off your chest and out of your head, we're going to dive in on Jordan Love. Luke Getsy's back in that Packers QB room as the Packers QB coach, and we found some audio from 2021 when he was talking about Jordan Love and his progress. And we found it to be the same that we would heard about Jordan Love this year, which is slightly concerning, but we want your take too. All right, on to the Brewers.
Brewers.
It is the official first full squad workout day, which means, other than pitchers and catchers, spring training has officially started as of today.
It is here.
Yelly got in front of a mic yesterday for the first time in 2026. And here's what he had to say about the buzz that is going to be this year.
Honestly, we just don't care. I mean, it's the same story every year. You know, it's like I said, just because they say you're going to be bad or just because they say you're going to be good, like, you still have to play the games and play the 6-month season and everything that comes with that. And then when all that settles, you kind of find out what kind of team you were. So we kind of ignore it and block it out. And it's kind of business as usual every single season, kind of the same story. So go out and play and see where we're at.
When the buzz sells you short, Yelly could care less.
Yeah, I feel like that's just a drop. Like I hope that we're mockingly playing that halfway through the season of just
honestly, we just don't care. I mean,
there's that. He did care about how the season went last year. And although he said that there is no impact on this season from last season, good, bad, or indifferent, he did mention how awesome it was to see all of the fans rally together behind that team.
The one thing I will say about last year is I thought it was cool to, see people and see the fan base kind of rally around that team. And that's the cool thing about baseball and what special teams can do like that is it brings people together. You watch people create memories with their friends, their family, and it was cool energy in the city. And it makes those kind of seasons more special when it's like that. And, you obviously wish you could have taken it the whole way because of how special it was. But guys that were around last year can kind of see that and try to create more of the same kind of magic going into this year.
Audio courtesy of Todd Rosiak's Twitter page, by the way.
Yeah,
it's so cool, Josh, to hear them say they notice.
Oh, absolutely. And the Brewers have always been pretty good. Like the players have always been pretty good at and Murph too at saying like the crowd was in it today. Like, I need everyone to know how much that gets the boys fired up. Like he'll let us know. He'll let
but that was
know.
One step further, I think. Seeing how the city rallied and there was a vibe and the whole thing. I mean, so many times, so often, professional players, college players, yes, notice, but also tune it out. And so when they take a moment to reflect on that and say, hey, I saw you guys making memories. I saw you guys rallying around this team. I felt the buzz, the energy in the city. Well, Bud, you're about to open up the season at home for the first time in a minute.
Yeah, true.
The buzz will be back.
Hey,
Buzz.
how do you feel about the fact that he kept referring to the team though as like that team, like past tense, right? Like
I love that.
It's still, he could still say like our team. It was just great to see the fans supporting our team last year. We're hoping, this year can be even better. So, but like referring to it literally as a completely different team. I think that's like a interesting kind of dive into the mindset that Yelly and I'm sure a lot of the players have, not just because there's some new faces, but also just because that's some old news. Like we got to move on. We're at a new
there
thing.
are always new faces in every sport. more now in college basketball and college football than ever before. And so I think it's fascinating that some players, noted here, Christian Yelich, refers to what was as that because that will never exist as that ever again.
Right.
So flush it. Great year. Pros, cons. We've processed it all. It's 2026.
Yep. True.
On to the Badgers.
Badgers.
They are at Ohio State tonight, 7:30 FS1. Here's what it sounded like last time the Badgers played Ohio State.
92-82 is going to be your final score. Wisconsin takes care of Ohio State on a Saturday afternoon in Madison.
That's Jason Benetti on the Big Ten Network. It's one of those moments where 92-82, but yet based on how Badgers basketball has gone since then, one could assume that they're going to have no problems with Ohio State tonight, and I think that's dangerous.
Yeah. What you like? In what way? You think like it's a trap? It's a trap game?
I don't know what defines a trap game anymore in sports because I think we get to pick and choose what we feel is a trap game and what's not. But I mean, last time they played Ohio State got out to a 15-4 lead. Wisconsin steadied things, took a 49-43 lead in the halftime, ended up winning by 10. Ohio State's in the middle of the pack. They're 16-9, 8-6 in the Big Ten. And so that is not concerning, but coming off of the two victories that they had recently here against Illinois and Michigan State, I don't know, man. Like they're not, the Badgers are ranked again finally, number 24. Ohio State's not. So it's just one of those games. It kind of feels like that Indiana game where, man, we are rolling right now. Everything is going really, really well. And then we go to Ohio State and should roll, especially since we're really rolling against ranked teams.
Yep.
And it's just one of those, okay.
Well, and we talked to Mike Heller yesterday on the show, and he had, I asked him, like, what's the peak you think in terms of seeding that this Badgers team can get to? And he was like a 6 seed is probably the highest. And he is like, so you can kind of look past a few of these upcoming games that aren't against ranked opponents, but they need to win these if they want to get to that point. It's that tight in the Big Ten, and just looking at where the Badgers are going to get seeded. And obviously that's a huge difference between being a 6 seed and being a 7 or an 8. If the main goal is making sure you make it to the second weekend, to the Sweet 16. So
Mike Heller not rushing the court.
No, he did not. No, him and Kari were like, we're good right here. We enjoy watching it. I was disappointed. I'm like, Mike, you got to get in there. Next time I want to see you in there. I want to see you jumping around.
That would have been one of those games on Friday night that would have been nice to be at. A big game against a ranked team and a big, big blowout. We'll talk more about that coming up, and I have questions. What is a game or two in your tenure as a Wisconsin sports fan that you were like, damn, I wish I would have been at that one?
Mm-hmm.
I've got one in mind. I'm sure Josh does too. What about you? The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. What is a game in your lifetime that happened here in Wisconsin where after the fact you're like, son of a, that would have been a good one to be at?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that coming up in I Have Questions. Packers, Brewers, Badgers. Hell yeah. Bucks. Let's go.
Bucks.
I am positive, Josh, you saw the interview over the weekend from Malika Andrews and ESPN, and you probably listened to that, ironically, very optimistically.
I listened to it, and honestly, I went, all right, this is all the same stuff, and moved on.
Yet, the way it ended, I thought, was a little bit different from Giannis. He finally came out and said something relative here. Here's what he said.
We got a lot of interviews over the years.
Yes.
One of them was in 2021. It was right after you won a championship. You said to me, we might never win another one. It's fine. I'd rather do it this way, win one this way, than go anywhere else and win 2 or 3. How do you reflect on that now?
When you've had a bite of a really good steak, and all of a sudden you go somewhere else, so time goes by and you're just having the big steaks in front of you, and it's just like not good, and you know how that steak feel. You want that steak again. But that's where you got to come to the realization that what if that feeling is, I won't feel it again and stay in Milwaukee and Are you okay with that? And the answer is no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So he's changed his tune officially from 2021 when he said, yep, this is the way I like to do it, and this is the way it's going to be. Nope, he had the stake. And it doesn't, let's just say he had the stake while he was in New York or in Los Angeles or in Chicago, or pick a different team. That city had that stake. Well, he had that stake once here in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, and he is not okay with never having that stake ever again. And that, I think, Josh, is probably the first time I've heard him say out loud that he's not okay with not winning another championship in Milwaukee or not in Milwaukee.
Yeah, which, I mean, I feel like he definitely hasn't used the steak analogy before, but I mean, this is what he's been saying forever. He loves Milwaukee, but he's a competitor, and his need to win is just so strong. And so that's why he keeps pushing for Wisconsin and Milwaukee for the Bucks to have a competitive team, because he wants to win here. But if they can't, if it doesn't make sense, if it can't be done, then then that's why he says it's day to day. That's why he doesn't come out and say, I'm going to be a Buck for life. Everyone can stop talking about it. I'm never leaving the Bucks. I will be here forever. Stop asking questions. Like he won't say that because he's a competitor. And if you talk to athletes, if you talk to like really good athletes, like that's always their mindset. I would be, if he came out today and said, I'm okay. I realized that moment was a special moment and I might never get that again, and I have to live with that. I would immediately question his drive and who he is. Like,
I don't know about that. There's been
would.
really good athletes that haven't had to chase that second one. Donald Driver is a really good example of that, where he won one and was not only so committed to the Packers, but when he retired, had his Packers retirement ceremony / speech in the Lambeau Field atrium to do it with the fans, because the franchise and the fans meant more to him than another ring.
Yeah, but also, like, up until he retired, he was on a very competitive Green Bay Packers team. It was not like he was playing on a Packers team that was 4-12 or 5 and whatever, and had to rebuild, and he was going to be looking at this opportunity. And then it became to the point to where now he was getting older, and he had to think about, do I really have a shot? Is there a team that I could go to right now that would legitimately give me that shot to win a championship? I don't know. And then he made the decision, I'm not going to take that chance. I'm going to retire a Green Bay Packer. But it's not like he was still in his prime and was on a team that was not competitive, which right now is what the Bucks are.
I'm going to write that down. Is Giannis in his prime? I'm not sure.
When he's healthy, yeah. I mean, literally, he was up there for MVP numbers before he went down.
That's my point. When you're in your prime, you don't get injured. And
I disagree with that.
Not as much as Giannis does. Well, let's see. We'll do a little deep dive into that and see if Giannis is in his prime or not. And we'll circle back on that. All right. Anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah, big time stuff, actually. So Doug Gottlieb, I know you guys chatted about this a little bit yesterday, Josh. We're going to get after it a little bit more during the 8 o'clock hour at the top, where Doug would typically join us on Wednesday, which he will tomorrow. But today at 8, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened in regards to the technical foul. He went on Fox Sports Radio, ironically, with the guys that he used to do the show with on Fox Sports Radio, and talked about what was good and what wasn't so good about that post-game reaction. And Josh and I are also going to talk about what are our favorite post-game reactions like that during that segment. There's so many to choose from over the years of coaches just losing their ever-living mind. And that will be a fun conversation. Can't wait to talk to DG tomorrow morning. There was also some talking from Shaka Smart and Marquette basketball. So earlier this year with CBS Sports and Matt Norlander, he talked about how much he maybe or maybe doesn't believe in transfers as a whole. We all know this, but here's what Shaka had to say about transfers.
there's transfers you can take that can be major, major impact guys on your team culturally, defensively, and offensively. There's also people that could take away from your team in some ways in those three areas. And for us, we place an incredible value on growth. And that's first and foremost the growth of our current players. So we feel like the emergence of a guy like Tyler Kolek, the emergence of a guy like Cam Jones, Oso Ighodaro, was allowed by having a void there to step into by departing players. And that requires you to have some young guys that you feel that strongly about. So that'll get put to the test for us over the next few years.
Okay. That was 3 months ago. Audio courtesy of CBS Sports. Things have changed, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Some pretty big news from over the weekend. There is a report from Jared Greenberg, TNT Sports, all signs pointing to Marquette evolving and strategically utilizing the transfer portal. They, didn't know this, are the last remaining high major program to not have a D1 transfer on their roster. Here's the story.
Marquette is the last high major men's basketball team to resist going into the transfer portal. And now those days appear to be coming to an end. While Marquette is excited about building around their young core, Shaka Smart told me last night that he will absolutely continue to evolve and do its best to get back to winning, acknowledging the realities of college basketball in 2026. In speaking with multiple members of the athletic department, they all conveyed full support of this next step and of Shaka by providing the necessary resources to compete. It was also made clear that the Golden Eagles' cultural values will never change as they remain committed to finding the right roster fit.
If a few moments later.
Yeah. You know what changes everything? Winning.
Well, but
they
it hadn't
haven't
for them.
won.
Yeah, but they haven't lost the way they're losing this year, and I think that's the difference.
But is that not because the team that they had, the guys that they had, the Tyler Koleks, that like they lost the guys that allowed them to make that run, and they couldn't. The system that Shaka had in place couldn't continue on in that winning fashion and
anymore. It worked. That was what Shaka's point was guys like Tyler Kolek were in the program for years and weren't the Tyler Koleks in the beginning as they were at the end. And so that's been Shaka's point about all of this. Like, hey guys, we can still do this the old fashioned way. And that was his belief at the beginning of the season. Not anymore. I've reached out to Marquette to see if we can't get Coach on to get some more clarity on this. They had chatted back with us earlier in the year that he was willing and had planned to come on, and then things kind of went south, so we left him alone.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if they get back to us and we can get Shaka on to talk about the change of heart when it comes to NIL. Josh, anything else?
No, the only other thing we have is some more amazing hockey news, Olympic news that you're going to hear in the most electrifying sound of the day. If you missed that story about Elena Myers Taylor, you're going to want to tune in to the most electrifying sound. Incredible story.
The Jordan Love Review hits the morning mind dump at 7 o'clock. Our guy, Brad Davison, joins us at 7:25. It's a Take Back Tuesday. Are there things that came out of your mouth or maybe that you just kept in your head that you're like, well, I think we're going to take that back? That'll happen at 7:45. We'll get the Doug Gottlieb reaction post-meltdown in Milwaukee. And the conversation going into the Brewers season has us asking, is this the last year in the foreseeable future that opening day won't have Jacob Mizorowski on the mound? Woody, for all intents and purposes, will be the guy this year, but the Miz, if he can get his control under the belt, if you will, it's going to be a little bit different. We'll see how that goes in the conversation. A jam-packed show today. We're so glad you're here. I'm grateful to be back. The Nicolay Law Fan talking text line 414-677-1250. Up next in I Have Questions. What's a game that you wish you would have been at but missed? Maybe you knew it beforehand, or maybe afterwards you're like, well, that would have been a good one to be at. We'll talk about that next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. In terms of walkout songs from the bullpen, this is way up there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was more than just even the walk-up. Like, it was the whole thing. The lights go out. It's just the bell, a little bit of lightning.
I wonder if he and or Mariano Rivera were the first ones to really own a walkout from the bullpen like they did back in the day. Those are the two guys with 600 saves or more. Relative in conversation as we jump back in here inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. In a segment we call I Have Questions, the question today, along with whatever questions you may have that we may be able to answer, is there a game in your lifetime here in Wisconsin that you wish, upon further review, you would have just bought the tickets? Time for I Have Questions.
When things just don't add up, Trevor and Josh ask the hard questions or just point out how messed up stuff is.
I only have one question. Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
Do you view this season as a failure?
You asked me the same question last year.
What's the most important question the Badgers have to answer Saturday?
This is a great question. Oh my God, this is a great question.
It's time for I Have Questions on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
The Nicolay Law fan talk and text line 414-677-1250. What is a game that you wish you were at but you missed? Whether beforehand, meaning I really wanted to go to that but couldn't, or afterwards going, I would have loved to be at that one.
Quickly, I looked this up here, and according to the Google machine, Sparky Lyle, relief pitcher for the Yankees, is recognized as the first MLB player to have customized music played when entering from the bullpen. That on April 19th, 1972, he walked out to the mound accompanied by the organist's rendition of Pomp and Circumstance.
Well, that sucked. But, I mean, nice try.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison. But there you go.
Hell's Bells, a little bit different ball game, right?
Completely, yeah.
Josh, is there a game or two that you wish you would have been at? And
Yes.
upon further review, you're like, oh, man.
Yes. Now, I will say that all of these for me, well, I guess that's not even necessarily true. The biggest and the first one is that Game 3 in 2008, the first playoff game in the Brewers' history in, 26 years? That game, they won that game. Dave Bush on the mound. I was in college at the time. I was in Wichita, Kansas. I'm watching it on the TV in my dorm room, freaking out. Just seeing everyone lose their minds going, what am I doing? I should be there right now. And then, of course, that was the game they won in that series.
Rockies?
Phillies.
Phillies.
Who went on to then be World Series champs. And that was the team that Jeff Jenkins was on. Played like his entire career with the Brewers, goes to the Phillies, wins the World Series.
Right. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I was at the other ones, 2011, 2018. The list I pulled up has some of those. I didn't miss many. I definitely wasn't at the 2008 one. That's why I didn't remember who they played off the top of my head. What else? Was there another one?
Yeah, the other one for me was just Game 5 against the Cubs at home this last year. I wasn't there. I mean, just an electric factory. And I can picture it, but I can't truly imagine how good it must have felt for Brewers fans leaving leaving AmFam Field and saying bye-bye Cubs, and just like seeing all of the Cub fans having to leave first. Oh, would have been amazing.
The Nicolay Law fan talk and text line 414-677-1250. What's a game that you wish you were at? I wish I was at Game 6 of the NBA Finals in 2021, says the 414. I could have bought a stool seat behind the basket on the top level for $1,000, but I did not pull the trigger. I watched it at home instead. I should have gone. Jeff from Fox Point. That's one game that I wish I would have figured out how to get down to Milwaukee for.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I mean, even if you didn't, the thing is, I've told a story. I mean, that was the best sports moment of my life, was being able to be inside. Shout out to my buddies, Mike Darrow and the Russ Darrow group. But even if you couldn't get inside, like in the Deer District, it was complete pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are more people that talk about what was happening outside of Fiserv than inside, just because it was nuts for that game.
The game I wish I was at from the 9-2-0, the 1985 Snow Bowl at Lambeau between Tampa Bay and Green Bay. We had at least a foot of snow that day. Couldn't get out of the driveway. Hope you didn't have tickets, and that's what caused you not to go. That's not the only Snow Bowl in Packers history. There was one against the Seahawks in the playoffs I happened to be at. That was an amazing atmosphere. I think there was a lot of people that said they weren't able to be at that one, and looking back afterwards, they're like, damn, that would have been great.
Yeah.
To be in Lambeau as a snow globe. The 920 says Sabathia's first game in Milwaukee. That would have been amazing.
I was at the game. He hadn't pitched, but it was like the first game where he was in uniform. He was on the bench. And I remember them like panning to him in the dugout. And he's like, someone's like, hey, they're talking about you. He's like, huh? Oh, hey. And like waved to the crowd. But that was before he had pitched for the first time as a Brewer.
The 262 said they wish they would have been at the Woodruff home run off of Kershaw. That looked electric. Yep, it was.
I mean, one my favorite Brewers moment
that's my
Brewers
number one
history.
Sports moment ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe actually they are making a bobblehead of that moment this year. They're doing their bobbleheads are a little bit different this year. If you haven't seen the giveaways, they are like cards. Like you have the figurine, but behind them is like a baseball card that not an actual, but it looks like it, like as a backdrop. But you'd think, oh, Brandon Woodruff, pitcher. No. It's of him with a bat in his hand. Completely talking about that home run, which was
so sick.
The best moment. It was incredible.
There's that for a giveaway this year, and the Brewers Bar Dice Cup.
Yeah, the Bar Dice Cup.
I want that one.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Now that one's on the calendar for sure.
Those are the two, though, really, that stuck out to me. And I'm certain that other people feel differently about other giveaways, but the shirts or the jerseys, I mean, they don't have big boy sizes that they hand out at the gate.
Nope. No, those
Not
are
really
easy
a thing
passes. Yep.
Right. Here is the game that I missed that if I could go back, I would not have missed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
I was going to the talk and text line. Here we go.
On the ground, Council. And there it is! Trevor Hoffman! A milestone number 600!
Trevor Hoffman was one of my favorite non-Brewer players growing up. Why? Trevor.
Oh, sure. That makes sense. Okay.
There was two professional athletes when I was a kid that had the name Trevor. One was Trevor Hoffman, and the other was Trevor Kidd. He was the goalie for the Flames, if I remember right.
Wow.
That's how much NHL I watched back in the day. How about zero? But I knew there was a Trevor, right? So did you ever get to meet Trevor Hoffman?
I did.
Tell me that story.
Oh, God. Okay. So I was interning with a station at the time. And it was like the first time that I had been in the media. And I didn't know the rule where you couldn't wear gear. And so like I had a nice polo on, but it had the little M on the chest. And they were like, oh, you can't go into the locker room if you're going to wear that. So I'd take it off. I'm in just like a white tee in the locker room. And I'm like, this is crazy embarrassing.
It's the most intern thing ever.
I know. And in the game, he was like really close. Like he was like at, I don't know, 598 or something, 597. And the Brewers didn't put him out there in a save opportunity. And after the game, everyone just talked to whoever the batter was. I think it was Prince. I don't know, who hit the winning hit. And no one was talking to Trevor. And I was like, this is a story. Why is no one wanting to say like, hey, how do you feel about being that close and it's a save opportunity and they don't use you? Like he was available. And I went up and I introduced myself and I asked him the question and he gave a very professional answer of, well, I'm just here to help the team however I can if they think it's the right opportunity, blah, blah, blah. And then I did the thing you're not supposed to. And I said, Mr. Hoffman, I just want to say, like, it is an honor to meet you, and thank you so much for everything you've done for the game or something. And he said, I didn't catch your name, and I said Josh. And he said, well, Josh, it was an honor to meet you too. And I was like, well, that was the coolest thing ever.
Walk right out of
in my white tee, just like, now probably covered in sweat as an intern walking out of the clubhouse. But that was
amazing.
That was my meeting Trevor Hoffman. I have to say too, I was at that game.
Oh, you.
I know, I'm sorry. I refused to miss it. I was at because it wasn't right away. He was at 599. He had an opportunity to win, and then he didn't get it the first time. And I was like,
guess who was at that game?
Oh yeah, you were at that one. Oh no. Yep. I was like, I can't miss this. So I think it was like a weeknight game. Yep. It was not a packed house at all, but I was like, I'm not missing this. And I was there for it when the confetti fell, and awesome moment for sure.
Right around that time, they were still doing Brewers on deck back then.
Oh yeah.
And I had caught a foul ball that season. And I took that ball and I took it to Trevor Hoffman and I asked him to sign it. And I said, this is speaking of things you don't say to players when you meet them. Now, that was on deck. I think I paid to be in line. I wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to sign the ball. And I said, you were one of my favorite players growing up. And he looked at me and he goes, how old are you? I was a full-blown adult.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud. Didn't mean to age you. It is the only, you're not going to be able to see it because of the lighting in here, but to Trevor, all the best. Trevor Hoffman.
Nice.
It's one of the only autographs that I have that is literally
personalized
to me. Yep.
Oh, no, all of mine are. If I have the opportunity, all of mine are personalized.
Right next to the Trevor Hoffman bobblehead behind me.
Yep, there you go.
Keep yours coming in. There's some really good ones on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250. What's a game that either beforehand you wanted to get to that you didn't, or after the fact, you're like, well, that would have been a good one to be at? Let us know. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Stay tuned today, a special edition of Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with Tommy Wartz. Tonight, featuring the Wisconsin Sports Athletic Hall of Fame. Hear from Mason Crosby and former Packers president Mark Murphy tonight, 5 to 6. On the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. The most electrifying sound of the day is next.
It's time for
The most electrifying
sound of the day.
The most electrifying
On Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brought to you by Best Electric. Learn more at bestelect.com. Don't stress. Connect with the best.
Alana Taylor has never won a gold medal in the Olympics. She has now. It's gold for the United States. And that elusive gold medal for Alana Taylor is elusive no more.
That is Lee Diffie and NBC's call of Elena Myers-Taylor winning her 6th Olympic medal and first gold in bobsled. And that is the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Electric. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. Trevor, obviously a few more bullet points right on the story of Elena Myers-Taylor, including not only is she 41 years old, she also is a mother of 2 sons under the age of 5, both deaf, that you could see in that moment as she just breaks down after finally achieving her dream of winning a gold medal. And she's signing to her boys.
Pretty incredible.
What had just happened. What a story. That's the thing where I'm like, I don't understand how you don't, like, if you can watch a story like that and not be a fan of the Olympics, I'm like, oh, well, then you don't get it. Then you just don't get it.
Yeah, you're missing it. You mentioned it, Josh. Finally winning gold. She is now tied with Bonnie Blair for the most Olympic medals by a U.S. woman in the Winter Olympics in terms of the history of the Winter Olympics. We had Bonnie Blair on earlier this year as the Olympics were getting started and talked to her about being the most decorated female Winter Olympian of all time. And that's now tied with Elena Myers-Taylor. She finally got her gold. She has 3 silvers and 2 bronzes to show for it. 6 total. Bonnie Blair, 5 gold and 1 bronze. Monobob.
Yes.
I was yesterday days old when I finally heard the word monobob in my life.
Correct. Also, same. I mean, it's pretty simple once, like, you take a step back and realize it's a bobsled, but there's not a team of 4. It's just you. Mono. 1.
Yeah, certainly makes sense but I read that and was like, what the hell? Is there a sport that I don't know exists
100%.
in the Olympics?
You could have convinced me that had nothing to do with bobsled.
Yep.
Could have been a completely different, something about playing in snow. No idea.
I was immediately disappointed that I was missing somebody going down an ice chute and something other than a bobsled or a skeleton sled.
Yeah.
And then, nope, it's just a bobsled with you.
Did you see, really quick, did you see the video of Colin Jost going in a bobsled?
Nope.
So they showed this, I don't know, it was on one of the like primetime things where he was not in Milan, but like they just showed it. And he wasn't alone. It wasn't a monobob. Someone that actually knows bobsled was controlling it, and he was just like behind him. And he's like, he's mic'd up and everything, and you just hear him screaming like a girl and like shaking. And he was like, I literally thought I was gonna die the entire time. And I was like, yeah, I absolutely would have. I would have been in the exact same position. And that's bobsled. Can you imagine like skeleton? Hell no. Absolutely not. Would never do that ever.
Is it still skeleton when they go head first on their bellies versus on their backs?
Yeah, I think skeleton is only head first.
What's the one with their on their backs with their feet for? Okay.
And that is that luge?
I think you're right. I'd have
to check.
I've never heard
that.
of monobob before.
No, but I'm also not going head first on a piece of plastic down a ramp of ice. No thanks.
At 41 years old, I was nursing an Achilles tendon tear and really excited for a sodded lawn.
Yeah.
She's winning gold medals.
At 35 years old, I was hurt watching her perform.
And scared for her.
Yep.
Are you sure you should be doing this? You're 41 years old.
I don't know that that's safe.
Hold my medal.
Yeah, exactly. Good for her.
When we come back at the top of the hour, it's the morning mind dump. We do it every day here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. What do you got to get off your chest and out of your head? What are you carrying with you? Dump it on us. The coffee's kicked in. You're awake. You're ready to go. Maybe you're on the way to work, on the way to school, whatever the case may be. What is on your dome today, or maybe weighing heavily on your chest that you say, guys, I got to get this out? Wisconsin sports or other, we will be your sounding board. The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line, 414-677-1250. Dump it on us because we're going to dump on you.
Yeah, we're going to start some things
to review the Packers season, and particularly the Packers players. It was announced recently that Luke Getsy is headed back to the QB room with the Green Bay Packers after a few stints at offensive coordinator that didn't go exactly as planned. So he's back in Green Bay. He's back in the QB room. He was last in there with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. And we found some audio from Luke Getsy from 2021 of him talking about how our guy Jordan Love is evolving. How's he learning? What's his footwork like? How are the mentals doing? And I'm curious if you hear this and go, oh, I guess we could have said that this past season too. So it's not so much the question of, is Jordan Love the guy, but is he progressing that would make us confident in terms of where he's at? Maybe you'll say, oh, no, because he's not the guy. We'll do that next. It's the Morning Mind Dump. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Penalty coming up against Sweden. Score! The late penalty is going to be called. Caleb Barnes with the shot from long range. And now a 2-on-1 for Team USA. The pass across. Score! Score! Abby Murphy! 3-0 United States. Here's Layla Edwards. Edwards score! Here's Carl Salemi out in front. Score! 5-0 Team USA. The United States will play for gold here in Milan on Thursday.
When the U.S. women's hockey team scores, they play Freebird. And I will never listen to this song the same ever again. Audio courtesy of the NBC Olympic broadcast. Kayla Barnes, Haley Skimura, Kendall Coyne Schofield, Badger Abby Murphy, and Taylor Heisey. 5-0 U.S. over Sweden. Let's go for the gold, shall we?
Hell yeah.
We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht.
Hi.
Inside Wisconsin Sports. The ladies on the U.S. hockey team are, I don't even know how to put it into words.
I mean, they have one more game, right? Like, that's my whole thing, is like, hey, one more. Get past Canada first, win that game. And then we can start really talking about how this is like the biggest domination of a team over other teams in the Olympics ever. I mean, I don't have records going back 150 years to prove otherwise, but one goal? They've given up one.
Yeah, and they set an Olympic record with 5 shutouts in a row. That's never happened before. They beat Finland 5-0. Switzerland 5-0. Canada, the first time they played 5-0. If you're Canada going into this game and you watch that film, you're like, silver's not so bad.
Yeah. And still, I'm here going, stay on target.
Yeah.
Don't, do
well,
not.
It's easy.
Do not allow this story to be one that then we're the upset. Stop it.
But
Finish
it would
the
be
job.
really easy to do that. So that's a little nerve-wracking. I mean, 5 games in a row of 5 complete shutouts. It's impressive as all get out. Carrie from Tosa texting in the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. Finally, some respect for the ladies hockey team. We completely agree.
Yeah.
All right, the coffee's kicked in. It's a Tuesday, but kind of a Monday for me. I was off yesterday, back today. Thanks for Tommy filling in. I feel like Tom, if you're out, Tommy's in.
Yes.
And who's you? Literally you. Anyone.
Careful.
If you call in sick at your job today, Tommy's probably going to be there filling in for you.
There's a chance Tommy will be there. The biggest news that I don't know if you heard, Tommy finding growth at age 26. 26
years old.
Slept at home.
I did see that.
He did not sleep on the couch in the studio before the show. I gave him the old slow clap. Attaboy.
What I want to know was he on time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. Big step.
Yep.
Big step.
Yeah.
B, why this time?
He literally said, I'm leaving. The couch sleeping is for 25-year-old Tommy. That's for Tommy Changa. Tommy at 26 he's.
Do we leave Tommy Changa behind too?
Listen, I think we did. I've started calling him Big Time Tommy. BTT. He's Big Time Tommy.
Why? What's the story with Big Time Tommy?
Because he's everywhere now. He's everywhere. He's on every show. He's doing Hot Stove Weekly. He's doing Wisconsin wrap up. The kid is going places. Big time.
You know what I have to say to that?
Big time, Tommy.
You know what I have to say to that?
What?
Jimmy Chonga, please.
Okay.
Time for the morning wind up. Here we go.
I hear voices in my head. They counsel me. They understand. They talk to me.
The coffee is kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
It's time for the Morning Mind Dump on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
414-677-1250. The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line. I saw Mike LaFleur hired Nathaniel Hackett to be the offensive coordinator down there for the new Cardinals. And then we saw that Luke Getsy was named QB coach once again for the Green Bay Packers. And I paused and went, do we wish Nathaniel Hackett would have been our offensive coordinator for just a hot second, or no?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so, because I've already kind of stated I'm not. As long as Matt LaFleur is doing everything that Matt LaFleur is doing, I don't know what the OC would do. I'm still not sure why Stanovich's job should or should not be on the line. I have no clue.
But yet I was really happy to see that Getsy was back in the QB room. I mentioned earlier, a week or so ago, when this was announced, that I was at that Green Bay Chamber of Commerce welcome back luncheon.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been the year after, I think maybe 22. It obviously didn't happen during COVID. He was a genuine dude, just really easy to talk to. Not that that means he's a good coach, but I liked him, is my point.
Yeah.
And then they put him back in the QB room, and he was in there with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love at the same time. We went and found some audio from Luke Getsy in 2021. This is him in a press conference, and you can hear the reporters during this press conference on a Zoom call. So it tells you exactly where the NFL protocol was for the COVID era.
Yep.
He's talking about Jordan Love's growth. And I'm curious, as you listen to this, Wisconsin, do you hear and see growth from Jordan Love from that time to now? That's what we're going to analyze in today's Morning Mind Up. Not so sure. Here we go.
I mean, I've seen a lot of improvement in his ability to, and it's just his get away from center, his footwork and throwing from the gun, our movement action, right? Him throwing the ball on the move. I mean, he's improved a lot physically. I mean, he came in, he looks great, but the mental part of it is the biggest challenge of playing this position. And so, yes, I would say that he has had great improvement in that area. But I think since the day he got here, I think that he's gotten a little bit better at the physical part of the game too. I really, he's working his tail off to, to find that rhythm, to find what it looks like every single time, and he's not satisfied with when he gets it right, and then the next time he doesn't get it right. So that the consistency of that stuff is what we're going to continue to improve on. But his mental side of it has greatly improved, but the physical side has shown a lot of improvement as well.
So what'd you hear, Josh?
To me that sounded like everything you would say from hearing from about a quarterback that played 6 games. And, it was, there's a lot to improve on, and he's making steps in the right direction. Things are improving.
But now compare that to where he's at now. Does any of that still hold on to Jordan Love? How is his getting out of the pocket and movement? How are his fundamentals and his footwork? How is the mental side of the game going for Jordan Love? What about that?
Yeah, so this is the part where this becomes a mind dump for me, because I was hoping that the strays, I'm calling them strays, that Jordan Love was catching at the end of the Packers season were just anger, and people were like, it's this guy's fault. It's this guy's fault. Jordan Love's fault. Jordan Love's got to be better. And I went, all right, you're mad. I'm mad too. I get it. But we're now we're past that point. Season's done.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love had a good season. Like, I don't understand the idea of Jordan Love being the problem. Was he perfect? No. If he was perfect, he would have won MVP. Like, that's the difference. Like, and is that our expectation? Are we expecting him to be Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers? Are we still holding him to that level?
Well, what is the expectation? What should it be? That's part of the process here as we dive into a little 2025 review from a position standpoint. Jordan Love came out guns a-blazing in 2023. Over 4,100 yards, 32 touchdowns, but he threw 11 picks. This past year, just over 3,300 yards, 23 touchdowns, but only 6 picks.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an improvement in the pick category, but not so much from a touchdown perspective, and obviously missed some time. But there's something to be said about progress. And I heard Luke Getsy there say in that about, for lack of better terms, mental fortitude. 6 interceptions shows you that the game has slowed down for Jordan Love. So the strays that he was catching at the end of the season, I just don't think were necessary. What I don't understand in comparison to what you were saying with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers is why we keep doing that to ourselves, specifically this past season, right? Oh, it's the 3rd year he started. Favre won his Super Bowl in year 3. Rodgers won his Super Bowl in year 3. Yet we're not looking at the team as a whole, because we got to be honest. If the Packers would have stayed healthy, I know, coulda, shoulda, woulda, we may be having a very different conversation about the way the Packers finished their season.
Yep. 100%.
So why, Josh, is he catching strays?
I think it's because of expectations. I do. I think that's the biggest one, is because Packers fans are not used to the idea of having a fully balanced team that doesn't rely on a Hall of Fame quarterback. You had Brett Favre, who was the gunslinger and went out there and made amazing plays. You had the most accurate quarterback, the best quarterback to ever throw a football, accuracy-wise, in Aaron Rodgers. And you relied on him even when the defense was bad. But then you look at teams like Seattle that just won with Sam Darnold, and you go, okay, who would you take, Aaron or Jordan Love or Sam Darnold? I would be very surprised to the people that wouldn't say Jordan Love. And the reason, so it's not about Jordan Love. The other argument that people are going to constantly go back to is when Malik Willis was in, and seeing what Malik could do, and the fact that Malik won, and that whole argument of maybe Jordan Love isn't the guy. This backup we have is playing just as good, if not better. Look at him using his legs and all these other things. Now, some people got more into the weeds, and they said that they thought maybe Malik was a better fit in a Matt LaFleur scheme. That's, to me, a different argument. When I look overall at this season, any time that the Packers were either lost a game or had the ability to win the game and didn't, it did not fall on the shoulders of Jordan Love. And I'm sitting here going, well, that's what you ask of your quarterback.
Reaction coming in on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. The 262 says, if his coach wasn't a dumpster fire, he'd be a lot better. Also, Badgers will lose tonight because Matt LaFleur talked to them after Friday night's game.
I did see that. I was kind of like, hey, bud. Like, they're doing just fine right now. Don't need the pep talk.
Did you notice how good his hair looked?
Of course it did.
Little bronze tan on him.
Yeah, of course. Spent some time in Arizona.
Yep. Yeah. Saw that. Was a little worried about that myself.
Yep, did see that.
But then I also was like, that's pretty cool. I think it happens once a year. I know he goes to Marquette games as well. Mr. LaFleur does.
Yep.
Man, I hope you're wrong. But back to the point about the coach being a dumpster fire and Jordan Love would be better. There was one piece that comes up in conversation a ton, and it's accuracy. And so 262, I'm wondering what you would like him to be better at as we analyze the 2025 Jordan Love QB position with Luke Getsy, talking in 2021 about his evolvement, meaning how is he evolving? How is he mentally? How is he physically? How is his footwork? In terms of accuracy, Jordan Love was about as accurate as you can get this year, even though he wasn't perfect. And it has everything to do with him being balanced, which would tell you that if the guy can lean into a throw, and the same thing happened with Rodgers towards the end of his career, at least here in Green Bay, he was constantly throwing off his back foot. And when Rodgers stepped into one, you knew. When Favre stepped into one, you knew. And the same is true for Jordan Love. When he steps into one and has his footing underneath him, you know. And he doesn't throw nearly as many picks.
So in 2025, completion percentage, Jordan Love had during the regular season was 66.3%. Aaron Rodgers in 2018 was 62.3, 2019 62, and then in 2020 and 2021 he went 70.7 and 68.9. Those 2 years he won MVPs.
Yep.
So it goes back to my point of you had 66 in comparison to 70 and 68.9. That's very close. And those 2 years he won MVP. So this is my point. He's completing passes. He's getting the ball where he's supposed to get it. He's doing his job. If you're mad that he's not getting the first down or something else, sure, you can make the argument. I think if I'm being super picky, the only argument that I see is I'd really love for him to be able to scramble a little bit more. I saw a few plays throughout the season where it looked like he had the ability to run a couple yards for the first down and instead stayed in the pocket and tried to force a pass. But that was just a few. Like, that is super picky. That was not the reason why this season didn't lead to a Super Bowl for the Green Bay Packers. It's not.
I can tell you who we're not going to ask about Jordan Love is the guy that's joining us next. He is a fan of that team in Minnesota, but he is a Wisconsin Badger through and through. Bucky is at Ohio State tonight. Some might call it a trap game. I'm not going to ask him that, but I will ask him what's along the ride here with the Badgers doing so well. And I guess what we should expect between now and the end of the season for Bucky. Our guy, Brad Davison, joins us next here on Inside Wisconsin Sports, statewide on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Good morning to 99.7 FM WNFL in Green Bay and the Fox Valley, where I am. Good morning to Milwaukee on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan. That's where Josh is.
Hi.
To all of you at 710 The Game in Duluth Superior and 93.9 The Game in Wausau. We love you guys, and we are grateful you are here. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Inside Wisconsin Sports, with Trevor and Josh. Brad Davison of the University of Wisconsin Badgers men's basketball team joins us next. Stay here.
Davison with 5 to shoot, and Brad Davison on the step back turned his body in midair. Oh, contortionism. Wow. Davison cutting down the lane. He got decked and he scored anyway. Now Davison's playing conductor for the crowd. 78-68, Wisconsin beats Ohio State at the Kohl Center tonight.
Jason Benetti on the call. When was that game? January 13th, 2022. Wisconsin 78, Ohio State 68. Brad Davison went off. 25 points. 7 or 8 for the free throw line, 4 of 6 from the threes, and 7 of 12 from the field. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, and joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Our guy, Brad Davison. Brad, could you hear that highlight reel?
That might be the best intro you guys have given me on this radio show. So
there we go.
I must be doing pretty well. I'll take that.
Well, we're just trying to spend a little more time making sure you get credit for who you are, brother.
That's right.
I appreciate that. I'll take a 78-68 score tonight.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So Bucky's playing well. That's why we wanted to have you on, amongst just wanting to catch up and say hello.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I was going to say, there's a show later with the Wisconsin Sports Athletic Hall of Fame. I feel like that's in your future. I feel like Brad Davison is Bucky Badger without the costume on. Like, if there was a Bucky Badger without the costume, it's Brad Davison.
I think that's a compliment. So I'll take it.
Absolutely.
All right, off to Ohio State tonight after big wins against Illinois and Michigan State. It's not a trap game, but it is a game where you're on a high right now. So what is it that went so well that you have to carry into Ohio State tonight?
I think we have a confidence level about our bunch right now that's infectious. And when you go out there and you're confident and you're locked in and you're prepared, we have a lot of talent on our team. We have a lot of guys that are able to do a lot of different things. So now that we've put all those puzzle pieces together, and the sky's the limit. And now it's just not getting too far ahead of yourselves and continuing to attack one day at a time and making sure we continue to value those little things that have gotten us to this point over the last 2.5 months. We've really started to turn the corner.
Brad, obviously the Badgers 3 victories over top 10 teams, Michigan, Illinois, and then Michigan State at home. Michigan State at home, though, was just a blowout, right? I mean, the Badgers took care of business from start to finish. What was the reaction from the team, and was it different than it was the other two?
We were very confident going into the game. And I think our messaging and what we were talking about is, regardless of who we were playing, we wanted to prove to ourselves that we could put 40 minutes together. Even in those other top 10 wins and other wins, it might have been 25 or 30 or 35 minutes. But for one of the first times this year, that was a 40-minute dominant performance that there wasn't any letdown. We just continued to kind of put the pedal to the metal and keep it going in that direction. So just from, we always try to say, like, play to our standard. We were really proud of how we went out there, competed for 40 minutes. Now to do it against Michigan State, it's even that more impressive. But now it's one of those things where, okay, now we've proven that we can do it. So now let's just do it every time. Where's the slip up? So now that's our new challenge. There's always a new challenge day by day. So now our new challenge is just to continue to replicate that energy and execution and togetherness and confidence level that we showed against Sparty.
Wisconsin men's basketball assistant head coach Brad Davison joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Last time you played Ohio State, it was at the Kohl Center, and they jumped out to a 15-4 early burst of a lead. And then it didn't matter because Bucky came back. How do you make sure they don't do that again?
That's a great question. We've had a few games like that where we come out a little slow. That's a topic of conversation for us. Just making sure that we come out of the gates fired up and ready to go, and not wait till we're down double digits to then kick it into gear. So just continuing to keep everyone confident and locked in, and get that. Coach always talks about having some relentlessness and toughness, and coming out the gates with that sense of urgency. So that's what we're hoping to see again tonight.
Brad, can you talk about Greg Gard and just what he is for this program and the respect that he deserves across the state?
He's everything. To not only, the job's a little different this year nowadays in terms of you build a roster, you get a new group of guys to buy in and lock into not only playing for coach, but playing for each other and playing for Wisconsin and playing for the front of the jersey. And then throughout the course of a year, continuing to put those puzzle pieces together and continuing to move the team in the right direction. It's a new challenge and a new opportunity, and he's done it as well as anybody in the country, and he does it year after year. And so to have the experience I have in terms of being a player for him and now getting to coach alongside him, I just try to be a sponge every day and learn as much as I can, and obviously help in any way that I can too. But he's the best of the best, and this is what he does year in and year out. And that steady, consistent success shouldn't be taken for granted.
Boy, steady, consistent success in a coach. You had another one of those guys in your locker room that's just an incredibly steady, consistent head coach that you must have been honored to meet, Brad.
Trevor.
Matt LaFleur.
Oh, yeah, that guy. No, it was good. He was awesome. He was awesome. He was awesome. We had a good talk. We really enjoyed having him. When he came into the locker room, a few of the Minnesota Vikings fans started with a Skull chant just to get him going a little bit. Afterwards, my wife is a big Packers fan, and her and my daughter took a picture with Coach LaFleur. And while we were taking a picture, Coach Gard goes, "Hey, Coach LaFleur, just so you know, he's a Vikings fan. I know his the girls are smarter. They're Packer fans. He's a Vikings fan." He goes, "Really? You guys got a really bad quarterback problem." I was like, I appreciate that. That's good.
That's awesome.
If you think about it, the Packers have had 3 quarterbacks the last 40 years. That's an incredible. We had 4 quarterbacks last season. The Vikings had 4 quarterbacks last season.
And yet, we literally, before we brought you on, we're having a segment about how fans were still mad at Love for how he did last year. It's crazy.
You guys should cross the border and come hang out with those Vikings fans and see how you'd handle it.
I'm good. Brad, I wanted
Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champ, though. That's as close as we've gotten.
Yeah.
How bad did that hurt?
Yeah.
Good for him.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so great. I want you to know that a lot of us that had no skin in the game for that Super Bowl were like, well, it would be kind of funny if Vikings fans had to watch the quarterback give him away.
I was cheering for him. I was cheering for him.
Oh, thank you for that. That was great. Hey, Brad, I wanted to talk to you about, and I know when we've had you on in the past, I brought up like when people start to pay attention to the bracketology and the seating and not that it bleeds through to the team, but at what point that happens. And I thought it happened closer to March. And then after this win against Michigan State, I realized, oh no, it happens after wins like that, because it seemed like all of a sudden now the Badgers are in the top 25 and the whole bracketology of, okay, where does this Badgers team land for the big dance starts becoming a headline. Has any of that popped into at least your brain, if not the team's?
Yeah, I think as a coach, after big wins, you look at it a lot. You try to figure it out. You're really engaged, interested. And if you lose, I don't look at anything. Don't even care. Don't even care.
Turn the phone off. Yeah.
It definitely ebbs and flows with how you're doing and how the games are going. I think as coaches, we look at it probably more than we should, just in terms of like metrics and net and all of that. But we don't have any conversations with the players about it until, Selection Sunday. But it definitely, as you win those games and you see yourself jump and then you start watching the people that are around you, this is all a new experience for me as a coach. As a player, I didn't even know they had these rankings and these quads and these analytics. But as a coach, definitely pay more attention to it. But we don't have any conversations with our guys or anything about that. It's always you handle your business and you continue to move in the right direction if you win games and continue to get better. So that's our coach's message. But then I always keep my eye on it for entertainment purposes too.
Wisconsin Badgers men basketball assistant coach Brad Davison joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Brad, how much are you inspiring guys like Nick Boyd? He's playing out of his mind for Bucky this year, and that had a lot to do, I think, with him seeing a guy like you jump in, having been there, done that, going, all right, I'm going to learn a thing or two from this cat.
Yeah, I think he probably inspires me more than I inspire him. You know, everyone always asks me, do you miss playing basketball? And I honestly don't, because I love being here. I love what I'm doing. I love my responsibilities. But when I watch him play basketball, I start to miss it, because I would love to go out there and compete with the passion and the fire that he does. When he gets the crowd going, it gets me going. So I don't know how much I'm inspiring him, but I've really, really, really enjoyed and appreciated the year that we've gotten with them, and I hope the rest of the Badger Nation has too. Kind of crazy. There's only 6 regular season games left, 2 games at the Kohl Center guaranteed. It goes by in a blur. So I know he's inspired me in a lot of ways, and I hope he's inspired a lot of the Badger Nation and Badger community just watching the way that he competes, because he simply loves basketball. And when he's out there on that court, he is having so much fun. And that's, again, behind all the hoopla of college athletics, having a guy out there that goes out there and competes like that, it doesn't get any better than that.
Does he love Wisconsin like you did?
I got to spend, I think if we had him here for 5 years, I think maybe, but you know, I think that's the beauty of what we've done here at Wisconsin in terms of building the locker room and the culture that we've had over the years, is you got to have guys in the locker room that have been here for 3, 4, 5 years that truly love this place. Not just because it's where they're at, but it's because it's kind of part of who they are. It's kind of been ingrained into rewired into their brain and into their blood. And so then you can bring in transfers like Nick Boyd and John Tanji and Andrew Rohde, and the players that are in the locker room can kind of take them underneath their wing, and that love and affection for the program and the city and the Kohl Center, it spreads. And then, you know, as you go through a season and people fall in love with where they're at and people fall in love with the people that they're doing it with, you can create a really special locker room and a special group of people and a special connection that ultimately can create special results. So the answer is yes. I think he absolutely does. And I think he would say the same thing.
Not sure if you saw, Brad, after the game against Michigan State, Tom Izzo at the podium during his presser had said that John Blackwell, like, he regretted not trying to recruit him harder and that he's one of his favorite players playing college basketball right now. What does that type of message from Izzo really say about who Blackwell is?
High-level player, high-level person that's continuing to get better each and every year. And obviously he's having an incredible season this year. He's just become so consistent. He's so dynamic. He does so many things for our team, and he's such a great threat. And when you put him out there on the floor with bigs that can shoot and another guard like Nick and other players that can really make plays, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And we're glad that we have him. We're glad that we didn't mess up and did not recruit him. So good job to our staff. But I think it's always great to get compliments from other staffs in the Big Ten. I know as a player, it makes you feel really good. And obviously coming from Izzo, he's the best of the best, and we have a lot of respect for him and their program. But with that being said, we're thankful we got JB where he's at.
Brad Davison with Badgers basketball joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. One more, then we'll let you go, bud. Thanks for your time as always. You're kind to us. That's why we put a little highlight reel together. Just try to, you know, keep you liking.
I appreciate that.
Did you by chance see Doug Gottlieb have a meltdown in the post-game presser the other day?
I did. I didn't see the call or the plays that he was talking about, but I did see the press conference.
I'll text you a copy of the play after we get done with this.
Okay. I'm intrigued. I love it. I love when coaches show passion, whether it's right or wrong or too much or not enough. I love it. So I appreciated seeing it. We'll see if send me the clip. I'd love to see the play.
Yeah, he did not deserve a T. We're going to talk about that at 8:00 as we digress on how amazing it is when coaches lose their gourd after a game like that. Brad Davison, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for wearing the W on your chest as loud and proud as you do. Do you want to stick around and keep talking about Jordan? Actually, never mind. We're going to let you go.
Yeah, we'll let you go, but thanks.
Appreciate you. You got it. All right, you guys have a good one.
Good, man.
Thanks, man.
Brad Davison joining us on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all.
That was awesome.
That guy.
Sam Darnold. Yeah, happy for him.
Good for him.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh, man, that was awesome. We love him. He is so good to us. We hope you guys love him too. All right, when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation that we started at the top of the hour about Jordan Love and just kind of looking back at the season. And we're wondering if anybody that was throwing shade and him catching strays after the season wants to take any of that back. There was one earlier on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line that said, wait a minute, didn't Jordan Love just say that he has full control to change plays at will? He did. So is that LaFleur's fault, or is that Love not reading the defenses right? Plausible. We'll talk about it next on a Take Back Tuesday. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are inside Wisconsin sports. Stay here. Do not miss a special edition of Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with Tommy Wirtz tonight, featuring the Wisconsin Sports Athletic Hall of Fame. Hear from Mason Crosby and former Packers president Mark Murphy tonight between 5 and 6 on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. If you just missed our chat with Brad Davison, you're going to want to go find that later.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Open up your favorite podcast platform and type Inside Wisconsin Sports. There we will be, or go to wisportsradio.com. Listen by the individual hour, jump right to a highlight or a segment, or in this case, an interview. Josh, I'm certain we'll grab that and post that later today.
You bet.
The inside scoop of him and Matt LaFleur and just what that conversation was like as a Vikings fan that's worth the price of admission, some would say.
Yeah, incredible.
All right, so let's continue the conversation that we started at the top of the hour. There's more feedback in the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250 on a Take Back Tuesday. We're starting to dissect what was the 2025 Green Bay Packers season and some of the positions. Jordan Love up first for obvious reasons, but also because Luke Getsy is now back in the QB room as the Green Bay Packers QB coach. And we're wondering if from when Getsy was here in 2021 and how he saw Jordan Love progressing then, has he progressed significantly since then? And based on that and a Take Back Tuesday and the progression that Jordan Love has shown, is there anything that you, Wisconsin, would like to take back in terms of how you feel about Jordan Love now that the dust has settled and our undies aren't in a bundle anymore?
Yeah, now's the time. Now's the time. I'm not going to tell anyone not a fan, but the door is open. Come on in. We have coffee, water, and some snacks, and go ahead and take those takes back, because I don't see it. I don't see how you can sit there and say that he was a problem. I want to read this one from Ziggy that says, I understand why we are talking QB. However, the real reason Darnold and Seattle won was they had the number one scoring D. Elite defense makes up for mid-level QB play. And
so is that him calling him a mid-level QB?
So exactly, right? That becomes the conversation. I don't think so. I absolutely do not think so. I think that it's just more proof that if you have a defense that can disrupt in that way, it's going to allow your quarterback to shine more, even if they're a mid-level QB. I think if Jordan Love was on the Seahawks, he balls out even more. Like, it's creating those opportunities.
We talked earlier about Malik Willis and how in Matt LaFleur's system, Malik Willis seemed to have taken advantage of particular play calls that were designed maybe for him. And we read this text before the break, but I want to read it again. Didn't Love just come out and say, while he was at the Super Bowl, that he has full control to change plays at will? And so is it LaFleur's fault, or is Love not reading the defenses right? There's something to be said about Malik Willis literally running the play that's called no matter what. Jordan Love has a lot more freedom than that. There's no way Malik Willis was going to change out of much, if anything. But when it comes to how he executes the plays, I think when they get busted is where we see the majority of Jordan Love's growth. He runs out of the pocket better this year than he did in years past.
Mm-hmm.
I would still like him to slide sooner, but nonetheless, his feet are underneath him both in the pocket and when he's out. He's clearly more accurate, only 6 interceptions. But when it comes to play calls, I wonder if there's something there, Josh, where maybe he still is learning how to change those calls, because when he first started, there was 2 offenses. It was LaFleur's and Rodgers that he was learning.
Right. You know, I'd have to also, and if anyone out there knows, please let me know on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line, 414-677-1250. But at what point in a quarterback's career have they reached that steady altitude of they're not growing, they're not going up anymore, they've hit where they need to, and then they stay there? Like, I'm talking about good quarterbacks, right? Obviously, there are some quarterbacks that have that peak and then they go down. But I'm talking about like you're talking about the growth of Jordan Love and wanting to see more. Okay, what's the timeline there of what the expectation is for growth? Is he supposed to, in this year, with year what, 3, 4?
Three.
As the starter, is he already supposed to be there? Are we expecting him to have reached that pinnacle, that point of, okay, this is at the level we expect and need from Jordan Love? Or is there still time for growth? I honestly don't know. That's a question for all of you listening out there.
Anything in this category then, Josh, that you want to take back on a Take Back Tuesday?
Yeah, I kind of want to take back, not that I lived there long, but I want to take back any thought I had on Malik Willis being like the guy in Green Bay and not just being a serviceable backup. He will be, more than likely, he will be a starting QB on a team in the NFL, right? I would be stunned if that didn't happen. But the fact that the Packers have done what they've done at that position for as long as they have, I would tell us all to go back before Jordan Love was the starter and the worry that we had that we were going to become one of these teams that, like the Vikings are right now. And Malik Willis might be a fine QB for a different team, but in no way, shape, or form should it have been to where he's the guy and that we need to move on from Love or that Malik was better than Jordan Love. I don't believe that. I got to take that back.
All right, good take back. 920 on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line says, I remember lots of fans getting on Aaron Rodgers' leadership style of yelling at teammates. Jordan Love doesn't do that. And now I see lots of fans complaining that he doesn't show enough emotion. Yet, I don't recall Favre throwing teammates under the bus, but he played with lots of passion. Which style is best to you guys? That's us. Would you like to see more passion from Jordan Love, or do you like his cool, confident demeanor? I think, Josh, that is an entire segment that we could analyze the leadership styles between Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and see if the comparison game continues, unfortunately. But to Brad Davidson's point, it's the only thing we know.
Yep.
They had 4 quarterbacks in Minnesota last year alone. We've had 3 the last, my life.
It's a great question and definitely something that we could dive into more. Maybe we should do that tomorrow.
When we get back at the top of the hour, we have to dissect what happened with Coach Gottlieb yesterday in UW Green Bay. I know you and Tommy talked about it a little bit in the 6 o'clock hour. Yeah,
I said we're not going to get into this a lot because I know Trevor's going to go crazy for it when he comes back on Tuesday. So we held off.
The rant is old news, but Doug showed up on, ironically, his old time slot on Fox Sports Radio yesterday nationwide and talked about maybe having a few regrets and also what might be to come. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We're inside Wisconsin sports with Trevor and Josh, and we have info that nobody else does when it comes to Coach Gottlieb. Stay tuned. I am an eternal optimist. So please, God, don't tell me that you're an eternal pessimist.
I like to say I'm a realist.
Oh, great. We're going to get along great. This is going to be great.
This is Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Penalty coming up against Sweden. Score! Delayed penalty is going to be called. Caleb Barnes with the shot from long range. And now a 2-on-1 for Team USA. The pass across. Score! Score! Abby Murphy! 3-0 United States. Here's Layla Edwards. Edwards score! Here's Kroslemi out in front. Score! 5-0 Team USA. The United States will play for gold here in Milan on Thursday.
There's not a song I can think of that they should have picked better than this one.
Nope.
I don't know why. It just completely fits.
Same. And to your point, never think of it beyond this run for these two hockey teams ever again.
I hope we beat Canada 10-0 just so we get to hear this 10 times.
Hell yeah.
The U.S. women's hockey team at the Olympics setting record after record. Their 5th shutout in a row, and they go on to play for gold. Let's go for gold Thursday, about noon Central Time, against Canada. Hey, we owe them one for cheating in the old
in curling.
Yeah, that.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm sorry, but the internet can be a terrible place. It's also the best place. The memes, the videos of them having the Canadian that cheated sliding in and poking at different things is just gold. I mean, it's so good. Like they showed, I don't know who it was, some figure skater that like fell, but like they actually fell because he pops in and goes boop, and like hits him and the skater goes down. And I'm like, oh, I hope this is just a thing forever. At least the rest of the Olympics. Anything bad that happens, just put that Canadian in there. Boop.
My favorite part of the things you saw on Twitter/internet is the actual audio of the guy from Canada telling who are they playing. I don't care who
Sweden,
they're playing.
I think.
Whatever. Telling that dude to F off.
Yeah.
In the most Canadian accent ever.
Yeah.
I wish I could repeat it. I can't.
No, you can't.
Go find it. But it was a, oh, yeah, oh, how about you? Oh, right? And it sounded just as Canadian as you would expect.
Yeah, but he also seemed pretty angry.
Well, if that's as angry as Canadian gets. It's why we have nothing to worry about.
Let's all calm down.
All right, what's up, Wisconsin? Inside Wisconsin
Speaking
Sports.
of calming down.
Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht. We are live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and we have an exclusive for you in regards to what some are saying was one of the top 10 greatest rants from a head coach in any sport in the history of sports. Do a little Google once and ask whatever AI system you use to give you the top 10 post-game rants. I'm not sure if it made the list because it was the most recent, but it's on there. If you missed it, look it up. Doug Gottlieb, after the tough game, the loss against UW Milwaukee, made what I would call national news yesterday in regard to his reaction about why he received a technical foul in the spot in the game that he did. Doug went on his old radio show yesterday, ironically in the same spot that he walked away from. And this was the conversation he had with the guys on Fox Sports Radio about that moment.
I deserve an explanation on technical foul, which I did get.
You got the explanation? You finally did?
Yeah, it was that the official heard the F word, which I have a comfortable relationship with the F word. But I absolutely didn't say it there.
Okay. That was pretty confident, right?
Yeah.
He absolutely didn't say it there. I used to work at UW Green Bay. I have not been shy about that. I have been close to this program for the better part of the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
I know that every single game, the head coach is mic'd up. Doug mentioned it when he made that appearance yesterday on Fox Sports Radio. I know that they do this for a few different reasons, mainly because they document everything. There's always a camera rolling that is watching for the ability to cut clips. And often they'll use Doug's audio from his mic in the locker room for a clip or whatever the case may be. I knew, and it's not Coach Gottlieb, I knew exactly who to go to at UW Green Bay to confirm that the audio is exactly what Doug said it was. Quote, and I mean this, quote, the audio said, I want to get this right. I'm going to my right page. That's the exact same call. No F-bomb. End quote. No F-bomb. No craziness. The video matches everything that Doug said in regard to why did I get a technical? There was no violation of being on the court, and he talked about this in the post-game presser. He wasn't on the court. He wasn't outside the coaching box. He was not demonstrative, and he didn't curse. And there's proof. Literally the exact same audio. That's the exact same call, quote, end quote. He got an explanation that the ref said he thought he heard the F-bomb. Doug admittedly said in that clip on Fox Sports Radio that he has a pretty good relationship with the F-bomb. You may remember I mentioned that I sat in my buddy Shannon's seats, which were right on the Green Bay bench. And Doug likes the F word. It's just the way it is. And he's a very passionate coach. And self-admittedly yesterday on Fox Sports Radio, he said that he's been working on his sideline demeanor and how he can do things better in that category. It's mostly a joke between those that are close with Doug, because there are moments when Doug honestly doesn't remember using the F word. And I was afraid that was one of those moments. And he was adamant in that post-game presser that indeed was not a moment. And so we got confirmation through a staffer at UWGB that was able to check the audio, and it says that's the exact same call. This is a story for a few different reasons, and we talked to Brad Davison about this earlier. In case you missed that interview, look for it later on the podcast side. Just search Inside Wisconsin Sports wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, or go to wisportsradio.com. The fallout, ? Was not nearly as negative as I assumed it was going to be.
Yeah, agreed. Same.
People, players, coaches, media members absolutely loved that Doug did what he did. Doug went on Fox Sports Radio yesterday and said he'd like to take a few things back, clearly, because he didn't really, probably shouldn't say what he said about the officials in public the way he said it, but he did deserve an explanation, right? And he got one, and it was wrong. And so there is a big conversation looming today with the Horizon League commissioner, by the way, brand new on the job.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome in. Have a seat. Yeah.
Get your popcorn ready. And so we'll see what comes of this. I don't know. I asked Doug if he thought he was going to get fined. Somebody texted me this morning wondering if he's going to be suspended. That never crossed my mind. And they'll appeal and do all the things that they'd expect in whatever scenario. And maybe there's nothing. Maybe because the ref got it wrong in regard to the technical foul that led to Doug having the moment that he did, maybe there's going to be nothing. Maybe the Horizon League goes, you know what? I mean, Doug, work with me. Can't do what you did. And Doug will say, yep, know that.
Yeah. Well, there's two things here that I focus on. First is, it's very difficult to ref or umpire or whatever, everything perfectly, right? It's very easy for us on our couches to look at something a ref does and go, oh, come on. How do you miss that? What are you, blind? But if you're in that position, it's tough. It's tough, especially in in an instant to make the correct decision. And so mistakes are going to happen. However, this isn't like a who did the ball go off of type of thing. This was a judgment call that the ref made. So that is what plays another role. Now, the reason why I think that Doug also kind of called out the commissioner and the Horizon League was because a lot of times, whether it's true or not, refs will say, hey, I'm just doing what I was told. I was told these were the rules, and I'm following them. If you don't like the rule, I can give you the address of where to send your angry letter. But I'm doing my job, right? And so then the question becomes, who's the blame on, right? If we all are in agreement that Doug didn't do what he was accused of, then is it, we're placing the blame on the ref. My question is that always been a thing? Like if a ref hears a coach swear, if it's not at the ref, right? You're not like in the ref's face saying, hey, blank you, blank, like, but you just say an expletive. That's a technical foul. Like, these are the rules I don't know, that if that is the case, I would immediately question, because I'm used to the man breaking clipboards or throwing stools.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that type of stuff seems a lot worse than dropping an F-bomb.
I did get a text from a buddy during that game that said there's no way this clipboard makes it through the game. I'm fairly certain the clipboard made it through the game. The post-game presser microphone didn't.
Correct.
Next time, take a clipboard with you, Doug, onto the podium. I don't know, man. Like, speaking of staffers, I need to get back with that manager that let the cat out of the bag that day I happened to sit on the bench.
Sure.
Who told me that there was a clipboard that was unusable, or however he wants to put it.
Yeah.
So back to your F-bomb thing here for a second. If you watch Tom Izzo on the sideline or anybody else, it's not hard to lip read that head coaches use the F word. Greg Campy is his name, the head coach of Oakland. When I first started watching GB basketball, that guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had a mouth on him.
Constant, right? I think the difference is in the rule, Josh, that you can't say it to an official while you're arguing a call. You can say it, and Doug does, as does dozens, if not hundreds, of other Division I head coaches on the basketball side of things. And as long as it's not directed towards an official arguing a call, I think they're good, right? There are 4 rules. Doug was very clear on them. You cannot curse at an official about a call, right? You cannot be demonstrative. That means you point at the scoreboard, or you're wrong, look at that, or I don't know what demonstrative
make
means.
a scene. Yeah.
Right. You cannot be outside the coach's box,
Mm-hmm.
which he was not. I mean, he maybe had a half a foot on the court, but that's very normal. It's not like he went out onto the court. And he can't be on the court, right? So he has to be in the coach's box, which he was, and he can't be on the court, which he wasn't. Like I said, half a foot.
Sure.
But what are we gonna say? If you look up some of the old rants from coaches of yesteryear, it doesn't take you long to get stuck in a rabbit hole of going, dang, that was nothing in comparison to Bobby Knight chucking a chair across the court,
right,
or reporters getting into fights in the locker room with coaches, or coaches going after each other, literally in post-game press conferences. We've seen that.
Yeah.
So as fans, how do we feel about that? How do we feel when our coach takes it upon himself to have our players' backs and goes right at the problem? The problem with this technical foul in this game was the timing was absolutely horrendous.
Right.
It 100% played into the game. That's not me as a homer, a GB homer, saying, well, Trav, just deal with the loss. Guess what? I didn't expect the loss, but I'm not surprised. The reason I'm not surprised is because this rivalry game is real.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee was at Green Bay in the Horizon League tournament some years ago, and it was the most intense college basketball scene I've ever been a part of, and I was proud to be there. It was awesome. We need more of that at the mid-major level from Green Bay and Milwaukee. It was phenomenal. What made it phenomenal was there was a mitt full of Milwaukee students that came up and bought the seats literally right behind me. and it was a blast. So when we watch that game and watch the timing and then watch what happens afterwards, you mentioned earlier about the internet, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody on the internet, it was probably my favorite clip, was I love that early in Doug's post-game presser, he was talking about those 4 things that you can't do. And moments later,
he did that.
The most demonstrative outburst with an F-bomb came. It was just the perfect a few moments later.
Yeah.
The same call. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. The Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line seems to have a few things going here in regards to this, and one of them talks about Kevin Borseth's rant at Michigan. So Kevin Borseth was the longtime head coach of UW Green Bay women's basketball, turned that into what it is today, and Kayla Karius has done an incredible job of keeping that thing going. But he's a Uper. He's from the UP, and he got the opportunity to go and coach Michigan's women's team. And after a game, look it up, you guys, Kevin Borseth went absolutely ballistic. But if memory serves me right, and I watched it last night, he didn't go ballistic at the refs.
Right.
He went ballistic about his own players.
Right, which is different. We see that a lot, right? Especially from the legendary coaches. They will go at their players. They will go at their team. I wanted this one from the 317. I don't know what 317 is.
Probably the commissioner of the Horizon League.
Oh, thanks for tuning in. Said, I'm an Indiana fan. I hope not. That's biased. Said, but I saw the highlights, and Doug has a point. That was the worst officiating I have ever seen. So I thought that was interesting. Then you had the 920 that said, it kind of reminded me of a 5-year-old kid banging on the table saying, I want my toy. I deserve my toy. I think that was the funniest thing to me about it, and kind of the point you just made, Trevor, of like, he literally is saying he didn't do these things he was accused of, but then he does those things.
It was amazing.
At the presser, at the podium.
Yeah, it was amazing. As a friend of Doug's and a GB fan for obvious reasons, both in my personal life and our professional life, with him coming on the show every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., it was awesome to see. As somebody that, again, is close to the program, that's not a brag, it's just reality. I've really fallen in love with GB basketball over the years. And as somebody that watched the game and then saw that, my phone blew up. And I was like, oh, boy. Because all I saw was a clip with the mic flying.
Right.
And I went, oh, boy.
What about this one from the 414 that said, the good thing is he got national exposure for the program. Everybody now knows about UWGB basketball.
He did that last year.
Well, and so that's the thing. I feel like that wasn't the first time that he's done something about that. I like this one from the 920 that said, you don't know how much chirping Coach G was doing before the technical. A good ref will usually give you a warning first.
Yeah, and Doug came out and said he never got that. And then not only did he ever get that, but there was no what my wife and I called a circle back. So when we yell at one of our boys for being teenage idiots, we circle back. We go, all right, here's why that happened. Now, if you want to give me your side of the story, you can, but here's what happened there. The ref that banged Gottlieb with a technical never came back up to him, nor did any of the other refs, apparently, which is not something that happens. There was no circle back. And yes, look at that text from the 414. We're going to end this conversation with this one. The 414 says, Doug, I hope you're listening. Was at the game. UWM fan here. Green Bay was robbed. Refs were horrendous. Well, that helps.
There you go. That's the thing. I don't know personally if he was looking for validation. Like, time to move on. Like, you got to keep playing. There's basketball to play.
Yeah,
it's not the end of the season.
There's also another conversation that's going to be had. So, reminder, Doug Gottlieb joins us every Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., and he's got a big conversation with the commissioner of the Horizon League today. I have no idea what to expect. I don't know that Doug knows. I don't know if do they do fines at this level? I have no idea. They joked yesterday on Fox Sports Radio that he was going to have to potentially sell the jet skis that he's got for the summertime with his home on Green Bay. That means there's a possibility of a fine.
Yeah.
Somebody else texted me this morning and said, I bet Doug gets suspended. And I'm like, Jesus, I never even thought of that.
Well, I hope he brings a clipboard to the meeting. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, me too.
Bring that clipboard, Doug.
You and I should just go, you know what? I'll reimburse you. Go to Dick's Sporting Goods today.
Yeah.
And buy the cheapest clipboard they have. I'm going to go buy one too. And I want to see how easy it is to break the clipboard.
Ooh.
I want to punch a clipboard during the interview tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You think we can break them?
We'll bring clipboards to the interview tomorrow with Doug.
We're going to bring clipboards. Yep.
That'll be good. I like it.
Doug Gottlieb, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. He'll share with us how it went today with the Horizon League. I'm hoping he would let us know in advance. Like, I don't know what a suspension means. If he gets suspended, can he not make appearances? That would suck.
We'll find out.
When we come back, is this the last Brewers opener where the guy on the mound doesn't have the last name Mizorowski? Woody's going to get the nod, right? But the Miz is the future. We'll pick that apart when we get back. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. I am not liable for your fist if you get hurt punching that clipboard.
Yes, you are.
Do not miss a special edition of Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up with Tommy Warts tonight from 5 to 6, featuring the Wisconsin Sports Athletic Hall of Fame. We'll hear from Mason Crosby and former Packers president Mark Murphy tonight between 5 and 6 with Tommy Warts here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Trevor Thomas, Josh Albrecht,
Hello.
Inside Wisconsin Sports. Whew.
Yeah.
A lot going on my side after that little conversation we just had.
Doozy of a show. Fun one today.
Not only can I report that we will indeed have Doug Gottlieb on the show tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and we're going to have him for 2 segments.
Yeah.
We did that last week, and he shared lots of love information, which was splendid.
And hopefully it worked out for y'all. You know?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Never heard back.
Anybody
Did anyone avoid the trap and find that success? Is there any takebacks? Does anyone want to take back today on a Take Back Tuesday? Listening to Doug Gottlieb for love advice.
Somebody texted in earlier and said, "I'm a man. I'm 40."
Oh, there's so many.
Epic.
They are who we thought they were.
Yep. Danny Green.
You know what I loved? I love the Coors Light commercials that used where like the guys that were drinking Coors Light were just in the press room, and then they tied in those rants. You remember those football commercials? Oh, they were amazing.
I do.
Those were so good. I love those so much. Hey, yesterday you were in here and you were missed. And during a break, Tommy and I were talking about the Brewers. We just gotten done talking to Tim Allen, and we were talking about Jacob Mizorowski. And I had said, hey, here's a hot take. And I put it out there. This is a Take Back Tuesday. Hopefully this is not one I'm taking back. But I said I would not be surprised if this is the last season where Jacob Mizorowski isn't the opening day starter for the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, obviously, barring injury or whatever else. I think that based on, where he's at, where the team believes he's at, what we saw from him down the stretch, right? Because he did have that rough spot last season. But where he was in the playoffs and going extra innings, I think that he's the face, and I think that he's going to take over that opening day spot and take the mound going forward.
If he can control it.
Well, right. So that's the conversation, right? Do you guys listening out there on the Nicolay Law Fan Talking Text line, 414-677-1250, do you think he's ready? Do you think he's at that point? Are you expecting him to come out this year and be able to perform at a level that makes us go, well, obviously, Miz is getting the ball on opening day in 2027, assuming there's baseball in 2027. I will tell you the only thing that I really looked at last year was just how low his pitch count was, right? He was on such a crazy restriction for innings and pitches. That obviously has to change. But, I had a few people bringing it up to me going, yeah, but it's not like Freddie was going 7 innings in a game. He was throwing a ton of pitches and going 4. So I don't know. I don't know that that's a fair argument to make against the Miz.
You're saying that his pitch count was low, correct? Just based on him not being allowed to throw as long?
Yeah,
right?
when they brought him up and he started, it seemed like it was they put him out there for an inning, maybe 2. But then when it got into the postseason, there were a few games where he went 3 innings or so, and it was like, okay, Miz is getting there. Let's go.
So here's the crazy thing about Miz statistically, outside of the control issues he had early on. I went back and looked at Brandon Woodruff's rookie year in 2017, and then again his second year in 2018, comparing the Miz from 2025 and maybe what we'll see here in 2026. There's a statistic of strikeouts per 9 innings, the average amount of strikeouts per 9 innings. There's innings pitched, there's clearly ERA, there's walks per 9 innings, strikeout percentage, walk percentage. I mean, you can go down a rabbit hole on this stuff. This was the interesting one with the strikeouts. Woody had 6.7 strikeouts in 43 innings pitched his rookie year per 9 innings. In year 2, Woody pitched 42 innings, and it went from 6.7 to 10. 9.99. So he was on his way. Jacob Mizorowski pitched 66 innings last year and had 11.86 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's a lot. And yet we saw in the All-Star game that the best hitters in baseball can catch up to Jacob Mizorowski. So if he figures out his control at the velocity he's capable of throwing it at, then this could get really interesting, not only this year, but to our point, the future in regard to will the Miz be on the mound for opening day next year?
So we got a hot take here from Jason in the 920. Jason, one of us is going to be putting in a Take Back Tuesday at some point. He says, Miz will be a closer in the next couple of years. I don't see him being able to sustain a long-term starter role.
Why?
Very, very interesting. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Call us. Jason, call us.
Yeah, I would like a response there. Garrett in Tomahawk says, this might be the most exciting rotation we've had since a young Freddie, Corbin, Woody, and with all these young cats. Miz has legit plus ace potential. And yes, they kept his pitch count low, or as Murphy calls them, up downs or wait time as they work him up. Right. So that's my question, right? Is this the last season of the quote unquote restrictions on up downs from Murph and the team? After this year, are we having conversations about how many pitches he's thrown or how long he's going, or the Brewers seeming to not want to wear him out too early, blah, blah, some of these things? Or is it, yeah, I mean, the floaties are off. You're swimming in the pool all by yourself and you just throw Miz out there.
Well, that's my question for Jason. If the phone's ringing, let's make sure to grab that. If he calls,
yeah.
Boy, I told you to call. It's one of my best friends from kindergarten on. He says, what I don't understand is why. Why do we look at Miz differently? To everything that you just said, Josh, to the pitch restrictions, to the amount of times that we've seen the up downs over the years. Why do we have the yips with Miz? Is it just a control issue, or are they worried about his arm?
Right.
Is he too young to know when his arm is going to fall off?
Right. And are they trying to just avoid pushing it too far and then having, some significant time on the IR and avoiding that? The 715 says, don't sleep on Kyle Harrison. In 2024, Harrison was the number 23 overall prospect in baseball, and he's only 24. They're making another Priester bet, but he has an even higher ceiling. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I know that there are other pieces of this rotation that are exciting and worth paying attention to. I'm saying I just would be surprised if Harrison, this is all like, if Woody doesn't pitch well and Woody moves on, which I think he will, if he pitches well, I don't expect him to still be a Brewer after this year. But of all the young guns that are on this team, I think that there's the greatest chance that Miz takes over as that number one ace of this team going forward after this season.
A bunch of texts coming in. Hot topic. The Nicolay Law fan talking text line 414-677-1250. I just got a text from Jason in the 920 off the show page. Can't call in a work meeting. Have you in my earbuds?
Oh, well, thanks for listening and for ignoring our desire to have you debate back.
And hopefully you don't need a new job.
Yeah, well, that's true. Jeff from the 414 said, hi, guys. With the Miz throwing so hard, he is more likely to have injury issues. Yes. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the big question mark, right? But it's not like every flamethrower that's out there is on as big of a pitch count as Miz was last year.
So the injury piece, though, real quick on this, Josh, the injury piece, it's clearly because he throws so hard. That's one. But two, I think it has just as much to do with his maturity. Mm-hmm. There's and the reason I think he was on the pitch count as much as he was because he doesn't know when to say uncle. He doesn't know how to dial it back. Watch his facial expressions when he pitches. It's an absolute blast watching him play baseball. Yeah. It's like watching a kid in Little League who just figured out he's the fastest dude in the league.
Right.
Brady Endel.
Right. The 608 said, I think with continued maturity, Miz will get a handle on his emotions, which is usually the biggest factor in keeping control in check. I think he improves, but may not be ready to be the ace of the staff yet. And that's kind of my question. That's kind of the rebuttal I'm looking for from my take is based on what we saw at the end of last season in the playoffs to having a full 162 game plus, hopefully, sled of games in 2026. Are we still thinking he's going to need more time to mature or grow before becoming the ace of this team in 2027?
Look at this text from the 920.
Yeah, I saw that.
Come on, why can't we have nice things? It says, when will Miz get traded?
Yeah.
When or will Miz get traded?
Probably when his contract is coming to an end, because that's
Can we not just
how things
be in
work.
the moment, please?
262 said Chad Patrick is such a dog. Watch out for him too. Yeah, this is my point. Again, I'm not saying that we don't have quality pitching and it's just Miz. I'm saying when I look at what we have and what we saw in the postseason last year and the biggest upside, I would be surprised if that guy going forward after this season isn't Mizorowski.
Jacob Intosa says, I really don't think it has much to do with maintaining the arm. I think it's more about reeling in his fiery personality and not letting him lose it mentally. He will be a top 3 pitcher in baseball when Murph cools his mentals a bit. There's no better guy for the job to try to cool Jacob Mizorowski's mentals than Pat Murphy. That's the fact. So we got a good reason to believe in the future there. If you're thinking he's too emotional from the 715, this is Garrett and Tomahawk. Why in the world would that make a good closer? That's supposed to be the most composed and stoic pitcher in the lineup. I, too, had that feeling last year as to why if we're not going to start him and let him pitch for a while, then why not put him in as the closer? Nothing against those like Uribe that we had in there.
Yeah, or McGill. That's why, because we had closers.
And there was a moment during the season, late in the season, I believe, where we were kind of had the yips in the closing category, if just my foggy memory serves me well.
Yeah, I don't think that the Brewers, and this would be a good question, if we ever got to talk to someone from the pitching staff, but I don't think that was ever the plan in regards to Miz, what they wanted to see from Mizorowski. I would think if he didn't work as a starter, if he wasn't holding up as a starter, he would be like that middle relief to setup, and they would look at him that way. But I don't think you can do that. I feel like either Mizorowski is going to work in this league and be a starter that goes at the very least, that 3 or 4 innings, or he's not going to work. Like plain and simple. It's just he's going to either have the injury bug or lose that control, or something else is going to happen. And I'm not leading that way. I think there's just way too much upside from Miz.
Josh, do we know what we're doing in the last segment of the show?
Yeah, we're going to talk to John Kuhn.
Hello. Time to cross over with our friends from 9 to noon. John Kuhn joins us next live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Wisconsin, if you missed any portion of today's show of Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, good news. You can find it at wisportsradio.com or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Open up the platform on your phone and search Inside Wisconsin Sports. There you will find us and be able to change to jump to whatever segment you want. To the interview we had today with Brad Davison, to the conversation we just had about Miz, to Doug Gottlieb's conversation tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Do not miss us chatting with Doug Gottlieb tomorrow morning. And do not miss this segment with John Kuhn, 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. John, we were just talking about Miz being on a pitch count to save himself from himself. Does that happen in the NFL?
Kind of, and I hate it. I've always hated it. I think it's one of the dumbest things in sports that analytics and sports scientists have come and creeped their way in and have limited, really, for us as fans, but athletes in general, to be able to reach their peak potential. Like, how will you ever know what heights or what depths you could go to if you're never allowed to pursue it?
Yeah. Solid point. I just wondered if guys get in their own way, because it seems like Josh and I were talking about Miz's, I don't know, emotions is probably the best way to put it. Like, do you see guys in the NFL get crazy emotional and can't quite hold? Like, I think of Quay Walker a few years ago, or Josh, maybe there's some other people that you can think of, but we had to protect him from himself.
Well, and that's where a good coach comes in, because he can ride that emotion to greatness, and then know when it starts to cross the line and be able to pull them back and put the governor on. But that's what coaching is in a nutshell. You think all the way back to high school sports and think about the best coaches were the ones that could push the players to get that emotional response out of them. And then if those players start crossing the line, they step in, they intervene, and they pull them back a little bit. Those are life lessons, learning how to control yourself in the heat of the moment, learning how to drive yourself when you might be a little bit down on a certain day. And coaches are the ones that can really help, the athletes fine tune that.
John, we were talking to Brad Davison earlier in the show, and we were talking about when Matt LaFleur was addressing the team, and he said that, he's a Vikings fan, and he said that his wife and daughter, right? His daughter got a picture with Matt LaFleur. They're both Packers fans. And Greg Gard pointed out to LaFleur, hey, dad and husband over here, and Brad, he's a Vikings fan. And LaFleur said, oh, really? Man, you guys got a quarterback problem. And I thought first of all, that's awesome, right, to hear him say. But also, like, is it just me and, like, feeling that's, as a fan, part of what we're missing? And am I bad for wanting more of that from my coach? Like, I feel like that was nice to just hear, hey, this guy's human, and he has thoughts and jabs like a normal human does, because all we see from him is at a podium where it's we got to be better, and I'm just we had a good week of practice, and blah 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 blah. Is that make me the bad guy as a fan for wanting more of that, more of like an actual person out of the coach?
No, it's weird that you think they aren't human and they aren't just doing what the status quo is. I mean, the Packers go, and especially, all the personnel department, the coaching staff, they go up there, they say what they're supposed to say. They mitigate any type of environmental problems. They keep it all in house. And believe me, there's a lot more that goes on at 1265 than what we ever catch wind of. And when everything seems perfectly fine, there's chaos. And whenever there feels like there's chaos on the outside, it's a lot smoother inside than what you think. So they're just doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, you want to get the nitty gritty of what these people are as human beings. Hope that we get Hard Knocks.
I would love that. I would love that.
I know a lot of people are afraid of the idea of Hard Knocks going.
Why don't the Packers want Hard Knocks?
Well, for exactly the reasons that I just stated. You're going to get to see, right, wrong, or indifferent, you're going to get to see some of the real, right? And you might not like some of the real that you get to see. Many times the cameras go into the locker rooms, a sacred place, and come out with stuff that people are ready to criticize, right? And that's their sacred place. You don't like what's happening in there? You're not in there. Who cares? Who gives a rip? Your opinion doesn't matter. And people want to watch and see and try and understand, but until you're in those rooms with those people every single day, you're not going to understand the context of what they're saying or even how they're saying it. So be careful of what you wish for. I mean, like I said, Josh, you might love that. You might catch Matt LaFleur saying 2 or 3 things that you think aren't the right thing to say.
100%. Not to mention the fact that it's all about, we form our perceptions of people based on what's made available to us, right? If the Packers had Hard Knocks, keep in mind, like, this is a product. This is a program. They're going to make music and piece together different to tell the narrative that they want to tell. Have you ever, my wife loves like Bravo and Real Housewives and those type of shows. And I'm like, there's no way that these women like constantly are just yelling like this. If you put a different music on top of the conversations that they're having, it doesn't seem serious at all. It just seems like women joking about things. So they could paint this picture of 1265 to look terrible about something that really is not worth getting upset over.
I just think, Hard Knocks in itself, the thing that's fun about it is it truly makes football sexier than what it is, right? It makes hitting the bag look fun and cool and amazing. And really, hitting the bag sucks. Those bags are heavy. They're not fun. You're tired. It's 100 degrees underneath those pads. It's miserable. And they make it look like it's awesome. It's not.
Football's not sexy, John? Not sexy?
Yeah, to some people.
What's sexy, John? What's a sexy sport if not football?
Dutch speed skating.
Maybe the monobob.
Yeah, maybe the monobob.
The luge.
Definitely Dutch speed skating. Holy mother.
They take it very seriously.
Yeah, they're good at it too. All right, stay tuned. 9 to noon with John Kuhn, Rami Makloff. That is up next. Didn't have Is Football Sexy on the bingo card to finish today's show, but here we are. All right, we mentioned it many a time already. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., we will have Doug Gottlieb for at least 2 segments. We'd have a third if we didn't need to end the show in this segment. But he's going to join us for 2 tomorrow, starting at 8. We'll see how this meeting goes today with the Horizon League after Doug had a thing or two to say about the refs and the situation against UW-Milwaukee the other night. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. We'll see you tomorrow.
Because we're not done yet.